Hi, this is Mike and Lana here with the Home 701 team. We are out on a fall walk, just enjoying the evening. We're going to tell you the 10 reasons why you should not move to Bismarck, North Dakota. Lana and I have lived in the Bismarck area for over 40 years of our life, and together we know everything there is to know about the Bismarck Mandan area and the state of North Dakota, because we've lived in different areas around North Dakota. So if we can help you, if you're planning to move to the Bismarck Mandan area, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or hook up on a Zoom meet and let us help you make the smooth move to the Bismarck Mandan area. So let's get at this top 10 reasons why you should not move here. One, it gets super cold. Most of the time, so as we start into October here, we're starting to get into the jacket weather, right? It's starting to get into the 40s and 50s, and we haven't hit freezing yet, but we're pretty close at nighttime. So that's about the right time for things to happen. Usually November we start to get snow, and sometime in December or January we usually get a week of really cold weather, maybe 2 weeks. It drops down to negatives, negative 30 below, with winds can bring the wind chill down into the negative 70, 80 degrees below zero. Not always, but it happens. And so those are tough times. You have to prepare for it. Usually lasts about a week. For some reason it kind of comes in there and sets in for about a week at a time. You have to pretty much do everything indoors. You can't really do anything outside. So because of it, you will see the people of North Dakota, when they have nice weather, we get out and enjoy it. So when the weather warms up again from that and gets into like the 30s again, which it typically is, 20s, 30s, they'll be out. They'll be out like lighter jackets than you would anticipate, because it just feels warm to them after they've been out snow blowing for 5 minutes just to clear the driveway, whatever the case may be. And then it jumps up those 50 degrees. It feels like a heat wave. So they're at it. And then that weather lasts until about March, and then it starts to warm up and we get rains, and it starts to get into April and May when we get into the 60s and 70s. And then surprisingly, even with all this cold weather, we actually get super hot in the summer. It can be over 100 degrees a lot of times in July and August. And that brings a lot of storms. We have lightning storms, heavy rains. The rain doesn't generally fall gently. It usually comes down very hard. A lot of times we've got hail, winds, very high winds. Not uncommon to get 60-mile-an-hour winds at times here. So the weathers can be kind of harsh. So if you're kind of frail or not really thinking about, don't like to do stuff when it's, a little bit windy or anything like that, it's kind of a hard sell. So Lana, can you tell us about why people dress in layers?
It's a way to keep warm. I have 3 layers on right now, and definitely helps.
Yeah, so the layers make a big difference. You can shed the layer as it gets warmer, and the temperature variation during the day makes a big difference too. So also add to it. So the next thing that we have is there's not a lot of people in North Dakota. So that's a negative. There's not tons of people around. When you don't have a lot of people around, there's not as many different activities to do. There is not as many amenities. A lot of times there's not as much cultural events. There's not as much arts, museums, that kind of thing. Businesses, usually less number of businesses because of it. That's another negative. Okay, some of the things that also people have is you'd think land would be cheap because we have a lot of land but not a lot of people. And because of it, the reason why we don't have cheap land is because there's a lot of agricultural type land that's very expensive. They make a lot of money farming it. It's very rich in soils, or it's used to graze cows, cattle, and different beef cattle or some variation of it. So the land can be very expensive. Also, on the eastern part, it has a lot of rich soils in the Red River Valley, very productive area to grow durum, and it also is an area to where Fargo's at. There is some river areas there. So that adds to the value of the properties that you're going on if you're looking to buy. Now, in the middle part of the country, of the state, there is rivers. And the river and the little tributaries, there's a lot of places that people build houses on those because of the scenery and having access to the water. And so that's sought after as well. And so that adds to the value. Now on the western part, you have the Badlands, which come up from South Dakota and extend into North Dakota. And so it's a national park. So you can't buy any of that land right there. So that's a very beautiful area. It's kind of like a miniature Grand Canyon, but it's just not, yeah, obviously not as deep, but it has the same kind of rolling hills, kind of a lot of wildlife. There's bison there. There is a lot of different, there's pheasants around in that area, and there is all sorts of different wildlife that roam in that park. And it's visited by a lot of different people, and Medora is in that park, town of Medora, and it's kind of a little vacation spot for a lot of people, and they do put on a nice play there. Another reason is we don't have any professional sports. And can you tell us about schools? Why is it negative?
Sure. So we don't have a lot of options for private schools. We do have a number of public schools, and they do tend to do well, have good outcomes for the students. But if you want to go to a certain school, or you want your kids to go to a certain school, you're going to have to buy a home in that district.
Yeah, so tell us about the homes in North Dakota, small towns and Bismarck.
Yeah, so, a starter home is probably going to be around $350,000, maybe $300,000, depending on what you're looking for. And in a smaller town, you could probably find something around $200,000, maybe less.
Okay, so I guess I just thought, a rural town, or I know better, but if I'm pretending I didn't know anything about North Dakota, I would think it would be rural enough that you could get something super cheap, but that's not the case. A lot of towns are around some of the bigger cities, and instead of getting something for like $100,000, which you just can't find, you're gonna find them more like a nice home for $175,000, $200,000, and then in Bismarck, to get into that home, you're still looking at about $350,000. So that's kind of the starter. Now, what about our entertainment events? Do we have a lot of those?
We have a fair amount of things, but it is a smaller town, so we just don't get the big name concerts like a lot of other places get. If you want to go to a concert, you're going to have to travel probably to Fargo or further to the cities to go to some of the really good concerts you want to see.
Yeah, and we've done that. We've gone to different concerts in Minneapolis, which is a 6-hour drive, so it's a little hike for us to go to see something that we wanted to see. So there's a lot of different things that we just have to travel to go see, but every once in a while we'll get somebody to come in on like a weekday, and so sometimes in the evening we'll take in that event. So that's one option. Another one negative of living in North Dakota is you're really far away from big cities. Like, how far is it to Minneapolis?
Oh, it's about a 6.5 hour drive.
And then like Denver, 9 hours roughly.
Yeah.
So, we're not super close to any big town, so big city, so it's kind of hard. If you just don't get a lot of those cultural arts, concerts, activities, things coming in that you want to take in. So that's it. And the last thing, number 10, the thing is our airport is small. They have a couple of flights out in the morning, like one in the afternoon, and that's it. And when you come back in the evening, it's usually late. It can be as late as 10:30 at night coming from Minneapolis. We almost always fly to Minneapolis or Denver or Dallas, Fort Worth, those 3 hub cities, and then have to travel from there. But we do have
one airline that has some direct flights. I don't even know where they go direct anymore. I think you could go to Vegas, you can go to Mesa Airport in Arizona.
And Sanford, Florida, and also Los Angeles area. They fly those to 4 different areas, and that's Allegiant Airlines. So that is a straight shot with them. That's been kind of nice. And so we've been enjoying that service, but just not quite, obviously not going to have the number of options that you'd have if you were in Minneapolis, Denver, Chicago, Detroit, any of those bigger cities.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video.
And you're going to want to stay tuned for the next video, because in that video we're going to talk about the 10 best reasons why you should move to the Bismarck Mandan area. So take a look at that video. And if Lana and I can be of any help to you to make the smooth move to the Bismarck Mandan area, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or hook up a Zoom meet and let us help you make that smooth move to the Bismarck Mandan area. So goodbye from all of us, our dog Thor, our mascot, and Lana and I.
See you next time.
Bye.